with a news flash. There is voter fraud to report tonight. Only it's coming from, you guessed it, the right. Here's undercover video from a right-wing trickster last week in Washington, D.C.
Do you have an Eric Holder?
Checking out here.
Northwest?
For the next election, we are told you'll get one that has the barcode. No. Well, they did for early voting.
H-O-L-T-E-R or D-E-R?
H-O-L-D-E-R?
There was a reason.
That's the name.
And you were a Democrat, and you wanted to pay.
I did.
Northwest, that's the address.
Okay.
Last name?
Please sign there.
I actually forgot my ID.
You don't need it, it's all right.
I left it in the car.
As long as you're in here, you're on our list, and that's who you say you are. Okay?
I would feel more comfortable if I just had my IDs. All right, if I go get it. I'll be back faster than you can say furious.
We're not going anywhere.
Really? This is what they got? I think it's actually kind of funny. And listen to the worker.
As long as you're in here, you're on our list, and that's who you say you are. Okay?
Yes, the worker followed procedure. If you're not who you say you are, it's illegal. So what are they trying to prove? They should just listen to lawmakers who came on this show.
Absolutely.
How are you giving an improved way of voting when there was nothing wrong? You're securing
because
what? There was no fraud.
We have accountability. We're not going to wait for fraud.
The only way you can be certain of that is to have a photo to make sure that that's the person.
Cases. You don't have a lot of people coming to you saying the wrong person did it. So they can't point to any widespread fraud. Since 1997, there's been 311 cases of voter fraud, 311 out of 593 million votes cast. That's a rate of 0.00005%. In Washington, D.C., there has been 0 cases of voter fraud in the last 12 years. 0. You have a better chance of being struck by lightning, winning an Academy Award, and giving birth to quintuplets. The Justice Department responded saying, about the only time I get concrete evidence of voter fraud is when someone pulls a stunt like this. Here's the bottom line. They'll do anything to suppress 5 million voters. That's why we marched, and that's why we won't give up the fight. Joining me now is Judith Brown-Dianis, co-director of the Advancement Project. Thanks for being there tonight, Judith.
Thank you for having me.
What's your take on this undercover video?
You know, they can't find voter fraud in real elections. The Bush administration looked for 5 years to investigate and find voter fraud, and they couldn't find any voter fraud. So these right-wing tricksters had to go out and create their own attempts at voter fraud. And trying to impersonate the Attorney General really should open them up to charges for committing voter fraud themselves.
Now, you know, from the undercover video that we saw, the worker actually proves the poll worker is doing his job. I mean, at the end of the day, they disprove what they're saying.
That's right. That's right. I mean, they disapprove it. They don't allow him to vote. So he didn't get to commit the impersonation that he tried to do.
Let me show people what happened that he was actually stopped from. Let me play this for you.
Do the best you can.
So if I just do the best I can, I can vote. You'll give me a ballot.
Right. Yeah, of course you can.
If my signature doesn't match like any sort of official signature, do you compare it?
Take care of that. That's special dollar.
Do you compare it to any other signature?
Just take it back there. Take it back there.
I don't have my ID.
Yeah, take it back your special ballot.
Special ballot, which means they have to verify a signature. They'd handle it. So they disproved their point.
That's right. And what's important to understand here is that the real voter fraud is this kind of attempt at trickery. The real voter fraud is trying to steal elections like we saw in 2000 in Florida, right? A Secretary of State that set it up so that they could stop the recount. In 2004, a Secretary of State in Ohio who decided that any registration that wasn't on hard paper should be thrown out. In 2008, using foreclosure lists, the trickery that goes on trying to tell African Americans they can't vote on Tuesday, they should vote on Thursday. That's the real voter fraud. And that's what is happening here, is that they can't find the voter impersonation that they say exists, so they try and make it up. But at the end of the day, the ones who are stealing elections are the ones who are committing this other kind of voter fraud, including suppressing the vote of 5 million voters who won't have voter ID when it comes to this election.
And we see that the Attorney General has come on and said he's strongly going to fight for voting rights. Let me show a statement by the Attorney General.
Today, we cannot and we must not take the right to vote for granted, nor can we shirk the sacred responsibility that has fallen upon our shoulders. We must remain ever vigilant in safeguarding our most basic and important right. Too many recent actions have the potential to reverse the progress that defines us.
Judith Brown-Dianis, thanks for your time tonight. A quick note, Attorney General Eric Holder will be joining us this week at National Action Network's annual convention in Washington, D.C. I'm honored that the Attorney General will give the opening address Wednesday morning. Please go to nationalactionnetwork.net for more information on the entire convention.